Hello, everybody. I'm Edith Espinola, and today my guest for the top producer interview is Sylvia C. Sylvia, how do you say your last name?
Well,
Well, I know the Pollifrone. Well, I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
Pollifrone.
Pollifrone. Okay,
It's
so
Chakmakjian Pollifrone. Between the two of our last names, we cover all the letters of the alphabet.
I love it.
That's the best way to describe it.
I love it. That's so great. So Sylvia is a prolific realtor. She's been doing real estate since she was 18 years old. She sold enough production to be over $1 billion throughout her entire career. She is an amazing woman. She's always been very kind and very helpful to me and to other agents that I know in this office. She's also a real health aficionado. She has her own organic garden, and from what I could tell on Facebook, you cook amazing dishes.
Well, Frank grows it, I cook it.
Okay, great. So Frank is the gardener, and then we have the delicious meals.
Right.
And then also I know that she used to coach for Tony Robbins. So I think this is going to be a really wonderful conversation. So Sylvia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So now tell me, you got interested in real estate at 18 years old. What were you thinking?
Good question. Well, actually, it was sort of like a revenge.
A revenge?
Well, revenge and also a lot of other things. Well, I was told by someone I knew that I would never amount to anything except a housewife.
Woo.
And he was in real estate. Well, I had to show him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was one thing. The second thing was that I really wanted to own a home, and I wanted to have my dogs. That was really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents were immigrants, so I knew the only way I could do this by getting into the business and doing what I needed to do. I said hello to real estate and goodbye to him, and the rest is history.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So when you first started real estate then, did you have a mentor who showed you how to do it, or did you have to learn by yourself?
Well, a couple of things. I would say the mentor was probably my mom, which she was the most amazing person. I learned a great deal from her. She was very wise, and she told me a lot of different things when I was growing up, and that had a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was 4 days I was in real estate. My broker took me to a Tommy Hopkins thing.
Tommy Hopkins? Who's
Right.
that?
Well, that was probably the Brian Maffini of 1979.
Okay.
And I really pretty much took his things home, and I started memorizing it, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't really even know how I got my license. It was like I memorized everything. I went past the test, and here I was, and I knew I had to learn how to do it, and
Right.
that's how it was.
Right. And so then when you went to Tommy Hopkins' event, that helped you to
Yes.
really like kick off your real estate business?
Well, what it was it was, and my broker actually bought the tapes because I couldn't afford it. I was an 18-year-old kid
Yeah.
with not much saved, and so I took the tapes home and pretty much listened to them morning, noon, and night. I made his words my words until I had my own words.
That's wonderful. So you started off your career then with the scripts of somebody who was
Yes.
successful
Mhm.
and also successful at teaching realtors how to do it, right?
Exactly.
That's wonderful. So, do you remember your first transaction?
Oh gosh, yes, it was a couple of days after I got into business.
A couple of days after.
It was kind of scary. These people showed up to my office. I was on floor duty. And I'm going, okay, what do I do? They want to see a house. I didn't ask them what price or anything. They want to see a house. The only house I knew was right around the corner from our office that my broker had listed. We got in the car. I drove there. I didn't even know how to use a lockbox. I'd borrow his. They opened the house for me, walked around, and as they were leaving, I said, do you want to buy it? And they said, yes. I said, oh shit, what did I do next? So I got on the phone, I called my broker and said, don't worry, I'll be right there to help you. So he ran down, and he's writing a contract. I'm sitting here, these people are looking at me probably, oh my gosh, what do we have in our hands? And I turned around and I said, well, they just changed the contracts and he is part of it, so he understands it all, so I'll make sure you're protected. And I didn't know what the heck he was going on, but that's how I saw my first house.
Wow, that's great.
It was just pure luck. It was nothing except luck. Trust me.
Well, you are blessed, right?
I am very blessed.
So then from the first transaction to the second transaction, when was that?
Not too long after, I really started taking these scripts and learning it and just going home practicing it. And every client I had, I took as much floor time as I could because that's the only way you could at those days. And I decided I was going to go ahead and start farming.
Mm-hmm.
And I started farming East Palo Alto because I wanted to save the world. That was my whole idea. Well, I started getting a lot of listing agreements and everything else. The first year, 1979, I got top listing agent for the whole Mountain View Board of Realtors.
Wow.
And again, I was all pure. I just was not afraid. I was just going to go out there and do what I needed to do, and I wanted to help everybody, and that's what it was. I think at that year, I think I took 40 some odd listings.
Oh my God, you were 18 years old.
Yeah.
You practiced, you really, really brought in those
Yes.
scripts into you, you embodied them. And then you went and you farmed East Palo Alto and you took 40 some listings that
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Is everybody else blown away?
I was afraid. I couldn't. I don't know how I did that then. It was just sort of like, I had no other choice. Sometimes you had to.
Sylvia, I have to say, I would love to be in your shoes and say, I don't know how I did 40 listings, right?
Well,
I think you
felt
did
like I
it
had
from your
help.
skill.
No,
Oh.
I think I had help.
You had help.
I had help. I had divine. I really have believed all my life that you get help, and my help comes. I'm Christian. I believe in God, and I really do believe that you can either be host to God or hostage to your ego. That's what Wayne Dyer said many years ago, and I live by that. And so I start my morning by prayers, and I've always been the case. And I don't get up and say, God, do this for me or that. I say, guide me, and I'm just go out there and do what I need to do.
So it sounds like because you're asking for guidance from, from your the highest source, from your creator, when you ask for guidance, right? It's
Yes.
like, it sounds like you're just following your intuition then and going where you felt like you're being led.
I would say that's probably the case. I just really don't have an agenda most of the time. It's more of surrender is what it is. And just let it be and
I
let
love
it go.
that. I
And,
love that.
I've never been the kind that goes and says to clients, if you know somebody wants to buy or sell a house, I don't do that. I just think it just comes out. I put that thought out there, and it's there.
So especially since I talked about it today, you manifest it, right?
I
You
believe
just
in
kind
that.
of like believe that, if there's clients out there that you're gonna help them, and when they're ready to come to you, they come to you.
Well, when the Creator's on your side, you have nothing to worry about, do you?
No, you don't.
No, I don't. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm guided, and I know I'm deeply loved.
I think that that true faith and trust that you are deeply loved is key, right?
Yes.
Because if you believe that you're deeply loved and you're deeply held and that life happens for you, then you can trust that you're being guided in the right direction. And then whatever may seem like it's a negative thing, that there's actually a gift in there somewhere, right?
There definitely is. I think that every adversity that you have in life teaches you something, and there's a lesson in everything. There are no accidents. You just got to be open to it and, surrender to what's next. Because I've learned through my life that some plans that you make may not really come through because of circumstances sometimes arise in your life, but sometimes you just have to just surrender to the light. And the light to me is my Creator. And I just surrender to Him, and He takes care of me. I'm not worried. Everything's going to be okay.
I love that. So can you tell us a time when you felt like you were trusting that you were being held. And it might have been a little bit of a difficulty to know, but you were trusting it. Do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, I do know exactly what you're asking. There's a lot. I recently experienced that. I deal with a sick illness called Crohn's, and I've never said that to anyone before, but I deal with that all the time. I've had it for the past since 2003, and sometimes I don't know what my day's going to be like.
Right? Because I understand that it's very painful.
It is, but when you surrender to it and have amazing people in your life, like my family, my husband right there, and my girls, and Brandon, and they're all been there for me and supporting me through it all. And sometimes I wonder how I was going to get up in the mornings, but they were there for me.
That's wonderful.
And I know that it's, as long as I have that faith and trust, and things going to be okay.
I love that. So, growing up in an immigrant family, and you say that your parents had a great influence over you, that takes a lot of courage to pick up your roots and to move it to a new country.
Yes.
So, was there, what's the favorite thing that you remember about your parents in their philosophy about life and in what they have at the thought of being an immigrant? Right, because there's a lot right in there.
There's a lot. I was 10 years old when we came to this country. I had my 11th birthday here, and my mom, I remember, set us all down. We all held hands, says, together there's nothing we can do, and we're going to do it. Nothing's going to stop us. And we came here for you, and this is for you. And look at all your opportunities. And I think as an immigrant, I saw that as a 10-year-old. My parents, my dad worked for Saks Fifth Avenue. He was a tailor. My mom was a seamstress. And what I would do is I would get on a bike and pass out advertising. That was my first farming job. Advertising, it says, tailoring by European tailor. And I would sit there and write handwrite and take to all the neighbors. And pretty soon my parents had a business that they were running. And I think it taught me that if you work hard and you're determined, there's nothing you can't do. And my mother was, as I said, a very wise woman. And many years ago, she told me that every time I was depressed, I would call her, or any time I had any issues, she would say, I didn't raise just any ordinary kid. I raised a thoroughbred. Put those blinders on and run that race. It's all yours. You can do it. And she was very encouraging. I called her every time I needed anything, which was daily. I still talk to her all the time. She's not here anymore. She's been gone for 12 years, but definitely she taught me a lot. She taught me how to be strong, not to give up, and that nothing was impossible. Nothing was impossible. Everything was possible.
Everything is possible.
Everything was possible.
What a beautiful woman.
Oh, she
That's
was.
so amazing and so wonderful, and it's really like I could see the reflection of her in you,
Well,
and I
thank you.
think that's really beautiful.
That's a very high compliment you're paying me. I wish I could be quarter what she was.
Yeah, well, it's sincere, and I've just got goosebumps all over, thinking about like what
So do you
she's
think,
offered.
Jess? My daughter can say a few things about my mom too. She was an amazing woman. She taught us a lot. She really did.
Yeah, and one of the things that she's brought down and that you've embraced is that importance of family. Like we know Jess here that, you've brought her into the business and she's been such a shining light. And then, we have Brandon, who's also, such an amazing person. And so you've got your real estate team growing, right? And then you have your daughter, oh my God, her name's just escaping me. Jules, yeah.
Right.
Okay, and then you've got Jules, who's very talented as well. And so, and then Frank over here, with the garden and many more things. It's just a fully talented family, but it sounds like, and actually it's very evident to me that there's a lot of love and support in this family, and that is you know, what you bring down through the generation from your mother.
Yes, she taught me that, and it definitely is, and we're all here to help each other, and there, you know, even though, you know, we have a team, it's like we're all together, we all contribute, and we're all trying to grow from it all. It's, I think what really has taught me more than anything else is that it's taught me a lot about myself.
What have you learned about yourself?
A lot. My biggest teachers have been my clients. I've learned what not to do through watching them. And I've also learned what to do with them, with, you know, with what they've taught me. And
Give an example so everybody knows what you mean.
well, I mean, it's like over the years, I watched clients who invested in real estate, who did it certain ways. I learned from them what to do and not to do. And you know, very young age, I got started investing in real estate, and at one time I had over 40 houses. And
Wow.
I know. And as partnerships, I've started investing with clients and things like that. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I learned a lot too. And through it, we learned what to do and not to do.
Right.
And
So what do you think of the concept of mistakes and failure, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. You can learn a lot from it.
I know, right?
It's just, they're your greatest teachers. I mean, you know, it doesn't feel good at the time when it happens, but I think that it's your greatest teacher. And there are no accidents. It all happens because somebody out there who's guiding you is trying to tell you something, and listen to it, learn from it.
Right. And, you know, when you are being guided, it's really important to follow your intuition, you know, and it's just that little sound or that little feeling that tells you what to do, right? So, what's a typical day for you when you're doing business? What's a typical day? I want to know, like, when you wake up, what do you do? Do you meditate? Do you, you know, say affirmations? What is it that you do?
Oh, wow. I get up every morning very early. Usually try to get up between 5 and 6. And when I get up, and first thing I do is I start my day. I read my Bible. I'll learn what the message is, and I meditate on that. I pray about it, and then I'm usually going to sort of what I call my own little trends, my own mind, and sort of just sit there. That's my first hour in the day, and usually right after that, I run to the gym and work out in the gym, and come back. Usually by this time is usually 7 o'clock or so, and I'm on the computer returning emails, doing what I need to do, and sort of follow my list of things that I made that I have to do that are for that day, and then from there on, I just sort of start making my phone calls, and I start my day and get on appointments if I need to go, and then I spend a lot of time probably thinking about what I'm going to do next. I probably work more mentally versus physically. I mean, I don't think you really need to work at this business physically a lot. I think it's mental mostly. And I think that I sort of go in there and sort of draw my own pictures of what my intentions are, what I want to occur, and what I'm shooting for, and I just go out there and make it happen, and make my phone calls, and usually have lunches or coffees with clients. I mean, I try to make belly-to-belly contact with people daily. I mean, it depends. I mean, it's just got back from a 3-week trip to Europe.
And I love the pictures.
It was fun. And, you know, coming back from it, it just says, okay, so what do I need to do next? Okay, got to get back to work, and sort of put my, you know, intention to it, and took a couple of listings last week, and a few more things got going right now, and trying to figure out what's next, and things like that. That's a typical day, and then go home and usually make dinner, or if I'm up for it, and, you know, and go from there.
That sounds great. So, you know, it sounds like in the very beginning of your day that you really touch base with who you are, right? Like you really touch base with who you are, and in, you know, acknowledging and touching base with who you are, expressing your spirituality and giving grace to God is, you know, that's a very enlightening spiritual experience, and a very grounding one as well. So when you start your day, you know who you are and what you want and the love that supports and surrounds you, right?
I think that's really important. I think
Mhm.
without that, nothing matters.
Right.
I think I really do believe that God, family, country, those are my three pillars, and I
Mhm.
live by that.
Mhm.
And I think that being in touch with who you are, um, and understanding who you are, I think you get this feeling of how you understand other people. I can put myself in other people's shoes because I'm so in tune with the universe. I really feel that way sometimes. And sometimes I get messages that I need to act on, and I really listen to that. And I think it's really important to listen to what's inside of you and be who you are. I think when with your clients, I think they sense who you really are, and you really got to bring that out. And I, when I was first in business, I had to learn the words. I was someone else. But I learned that over the years, you just gotta let go of that, become who you are, and let that shine through you. And let the clients know who you are and what you are, and let them know it's okay to be who they are. That would let you serve their deepest needs. You get to find out what their deepest needs are. And I don't think we really sell anything, I think we solve people's problems. And once you have that in tune feeling, I think anything is possible.
You're so beautiful.
So are you. I can
Thank
sense
you.
you're getting this.
Oh, I'm totally getting it,
I
right?
know you are. I know you are.
I'm having so much fun up here.
We can talk forever.
I know we can and we should.
I know.
So, it's really beautiful, right? Because, like, the more you know yourself and how you're going to react to something, the more you understand how somebody else might feel or react, right? Because we really are all one, aren't we? We really are all one. So when you allow yourself to be you unapologetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you accept unconditionally the other person,
Oh, absolutely.
and then they know it, then they can truly show who they are, be who they are, and share their most intimate thoughts, right?
Absolutely.
And when it comes to buying a home,
Right.
they need to share their intimate thoughts.
Absolutely.
Right, like, why is this important for me to live in this neighborhood? Or why is this important for me to have this many bedrooms, right? Or why is it important for me to have this kind of a kitchen? Like, you get that it's not just the house, it's about how they're going to live in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And because you understand and you show them who you are, they have really deep trust in you.
I think that's important. If they don't trust you, nothing's going to happen.
Absolutely,
You know,
right?
It's absolutely, you gotta trust it, it's gotta have this trust mutual feeling. And I think that it's like, like right now I'm dealing with a couple of older ladies who are making some changes in their lives. It's really difficult.
Mm.
And in a certain way, I look at that and I'm learning a great deal because when I'm in my 80s, I wanna understand, I'm sure I'm gonna have these feelings also, but I'm learning them now. That's when I was trying to say earlier, they'd be my greatest teacher is my client. And, this woman's going through, she's 88 years old, and she's moving from what she's known all her life.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding those feelings and understanding what she's going through and putting yourself in her shoes, having that empathy, understanding where she's coming from, and knowing that this isn't easy.
Right.
And my job is not just to sell her house, my job is to take care of her emotionally
Right.
in every way I can because this isn't easy for her.
Right.
And
And really understanding that is the
Yeah.
gift that you bring with your real estate transaction.
right,
Really understanding her and guiding her and coaching her,
Right.
right?
exactly.
Is your gift.
Exactly. I think, we all have vehicles in life. I mean, it's like we're all given something. My vehicle is real estate, and that's what I use to help people.
Mhm.
Everyone has a different vehicle, and that's my vehicle. And I think that I'm put in certain places to help people deal with certain things. And as I said, I don't sell houses. I just solve people's problems and understand where they are in their lives, and we can take them to their next level.
Mhm.
And we can, fantastic.
Right.
And
So I believe that your spirituality and your trust and faith in God, and also the skills that you learned as a coach working with the Tony Robbins organization, right?
Yes.
Now, is that is that all brought to help your client? Like the skills that you learned back then,
Mm-hmm.
do you still bring them
Oh,
forward?
absolutely. I got involved in that organization when nobody knew who he was.
Mhm.
This was in the late '80s, and when we were using his house as a training center.
Can you
In San
imagine
Diego.
that? Hanging out at Tony
Yeah,
Robbins' house.
and,
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, I'll
yeah.
teach you how to coach.
So, this was going through all the training stuff and doing some crazy things. Like, I did jump off a plane. I have no idea how I did that. All I know is that I know I was attached to someone else, and I was quite wet when I landed, but that's a different story. But pretty much, it's just learning. I mean, we all have these inside of us. We just don't think about it. I think that's what it was. It wasn't anything new. It wasn't anything earth-shattering. I think it was just that it was inside of us, and we all have it. I think it's just being aware that it's there.
Yeah.
And knowing that by being aware of it, being in tune with it, we can learn a great deal from it. And first, you got to learn about yourself before you can really learn about others. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I definitely use it, the things I've learned. I don't, last year I had not really been involved in the organization probably for 20 plus years. Last year I took everyone to the fire walk. I've done it probably about 40 plus times. But I had not been really involved in the organization for 20 years, because sometimes I think when you learn things, or you remember things, I should say, not learn things, you remember things, because we all know it.
Right. We know everything already. We just need to remember it.
Everything. I think it's just, you got to leave that and just sort of live it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the past 20 years, raising my family and just doing things and just sort of living a different life, just living it now. And sometimes, I definitely am, I've always been a seeker, but I think as I've gotten older, I'm becoming more of I'm still seeking, but not as much. I think I'm remembering a lot more now. That's what's going on.
Well, I see your Facebook posts where you put in an inspirational phrase, and you have a beautiful photo with it. So it sounds like, or to me, it sounds like you're stepping into the role of wisdom holder. Would you agree?
Well,
Yes.
So your daughter's saying yes, and there's a few people shaking their heads. I think that the wisdom that you impart is evident.
Well, I wish I would like to go that direction. I wish I can. I don't think I'm there yet. I am still learning. I'm still opening up, and I would love to be able to do what my mother was able to do, and learn from, teach people with the wisdom that she brought in my life. And I mean, as a kid, she used to hold my ear and say, "Make this an earring," and I still do. I think at that time she was, she was probably anchoring me, as we say in Tony Robbins things. She was hold this ear and she would say, "Remember, I'm teaching you. Make this an earring. Don't never let it off." And she taught me some great things, And she taught me how to be courageous, not to be afraid of anything. Don't be afraid of change. Just roll with the punches and know that in the end, you have belief in yourself and belief in the most important, God first. Everything is possible.
I love that.
And I love to be able to pass that on to my family and to my kids and to whoever I can, whatever she's taught me. She's a very wise woman.
I could tell. So, when this is just who you are. This is who you live daily, right? I mean, and I believe that our clients that, there's a lot of things that realtors all do that we all do the same thing because
Right.
it's an industry, and so we all do the same thing. and, bringing who you fully are with all of your gifts and all of your knowledge and experience and your wisdom. I would imagine that your clients feel like they really truly know you.
I hope so. I try my best.
Mhm.
It's, I think more important than anything else is I want to know them. I
Mhm.
want to know what it is that inside of them, what is that's important. Sometimes I want to help them bring that out because sometimes they don't know that. And
Wouldn't you agree, Sylvia, that most people don't know
yeah, I
what
think
it
so.
is?
I don't think most people know. If they only knew how
If-
powerful they really are, it'd be scary.
Well, you know what? Hang on, that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to remind everybody how powerful they truly are, right?
That
That's
scares
my
me a
new
lot.
role.
That really scares me a lot too. I mean,
Yeah.
it just, because sometimes you scratch a surface and you're getting there, and you really are not the powerful one. You are just you're sort of like, you're carrying that, you sort of have this gifts that you're given, and you're given this amazing knowledge to know a lot of different things. But
Mhm.
sometimes we get so scared to really open ourselves up to that and letting it all in because we don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes you just got to say, what the hey, and just let it all come in and just sort of take over. And
Mhm.
once it does,
Right.
it's amazing.
Yeah, like self-awareness, it is scary, right? Because we're going to learn things about ourselves and not realize, oh my God, this is truly how I feel about something, right? And then when you analyze it, like ask, why do I feel this way? Now that's where it gets scary because you don't know why you start to feel, you don't know why you feel something, right? Like there's something that you're like, is that really the reason I feel something? And when you gain that awareness, then you have to look at it now, today, from who you were when that issue was implanted, so to speak, right? At the
Absolutely.
origin of that issue. You're a different person today. So now a thought that you held before that was like, it's become like a limiting belief, right? And now today, in who you are now, facing it and looking at it, like so many times we can get scared of it because we were scared of it originally. And it's just become a habit, right?
Absolutely.
And once we really look at it from today's lens and knowing and trusting that we are being held and that everything is in our greatest good, then instead of being fearful, look for the lesson in it.
Absolutely. Always look for the lesson in it. There's always a lesson. There's
Mhm.
always a lesson. And we're always evolving, we're always changing. And I think that we cannot be afraid of change, you know? And it is scary sometimes, but you just have to say, it is what it is.
Mhm. So when you're working with your clients and they're going through these big changes, it sounds like you have great conversation with them about the change.
It is, yes. We have a lot of conversation about that. I mean, I don't really, I mean, it's great to have the scripts and learn from all that and whatever else, but now, it's more about them. It's not about me. It's not about, and I don't really go in there and say, I'm gonna close the sale. It's not what it is. It's more of, what am I here to help this person with? What am I put here for? There's a reason, I was put in front of this person. What is it? I need to find that out, and I need to find out what I can contribute to that person and that family. What strengths that I have that I can use to help them to get to where they need to go. And that's what it's all about. That's why I try to figure out nothing else besides that. I don't need any fancy words. I don't need any doubt. I just need to get to know what that soul is all about and why do they have me there.
Mhm. You make me want to cry with your beauty.
No, don't say that. Don't start crying. I'm really good at crying.
I'm used to everybody else crying, and here I am.
Next anyone, I'm good at crying.
Right, because it's the truth, right? It's resonating with me as truth. That's why I'm emotional, right? So, it's really, it's amazing. So every time I see you, you're on the phone. You're talking on the phone, and I don't know who you're talking to, but when I was going through, like, working with my clients for Nevada City and they were thinking about buying property, you were so helpful. And even though every time I saw you, you're on the phone, you still took my calls. And if if you missed my call, then you called me right back. So I know you do a lot of talking with your clients, right? So do you ask them for business when you're calling them, or what are your phone calls exist? What do your phone calls consist of?
My phone calls are really, it's about them. It's not about me. I don't really ask for business. I really don't. I never have, and I never will. Because I don't believe I need to ask for it. I already asked for it in the universe, and I've already surrendered to that. It's going to occur anyway. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about anything except that I'm there to find out what I need to do for them. Everything will come, because based on that, like on Friday, one of my clients called up and said, "Can you come teach us a cooking class?" Okay. And
See, they're seeing the Facebook post too.
yeah, I know. And so I was there for 3 hours, 4 sets of my clients, teaching them vegetarian cooking, gourmet style vegetarian cooking. Now, what does it have to do with real estate, really?
Right.
It has everything to do with real estate. I mean, this way they got to know who I was, I got to know who they were. These people were not, ready to buy or sell a house. That wasn't the goal anyway. But I know that when they think about home, they think about the things we were talking about. When they think about that, they're gonna think about what we did. And that's, sometimes it's not door knocking, sometimes it's just, it's not, just by just doing things that are natural, normal to you, that you don't have to pretend you're someone you're not.
Right.
And I think what I'm trying to get at is that just be yourself. You don't need to be anyone else, and just let people know who you are, and let them, be who they are, be natural with you, and that's when you really get to know people, and that's when that's when you're going to get all the referrals, because they got to know who you are.
Right.
And you let them know who you are.
Right. So
most of us are afraid to let them know who we are.
Right.
I think.
Exactly. Right. So.
Yes.
So real estate's all about relationships until it's about real estate, right?
Mhm.
And having the courage to be authentically you,
Yes.
so that they know who you are, right? And so
Exactly.
because they know who you are, they can trust you, that you have their best interests at heart, right?
And then they know that you know who they are. That's the most
Exactly.
important thing, is that you know who they are and what is important to them, what's in their heart, and they're not afraid to reveal it to you.
Right. And how beautiful to bring your clients into your home, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
to
right.
share something that is so joyful, such as learning how to cook delicious meals, that then they can go and share with their family and their friends,
Exactly.
right? And it's
Exactly.
like, what a bond that you've created with them.
Right.
That's so beautiful.
Like once a year, we try to have our client party, right? And when we have our client parties, I don't do it anywhere else. We do it in our home. We usually have 200 people plus people
Mhm.
there. And my husband being in the industry he has been in, we have he's been in show business and knows a lot of people. So we get a lot of certain people will know commonly to come and play at our house, music. We
Mhm.
have them over, and I cooked the entire thing for 200 people. And
Oh
I
my
do.
God.
I do. And it's not, I could cater it or what else, but it's not about that. It's just sharing what's inside of me with them. It's real. It takes me 3 weeks to prepare for it, but it's worth everything. And yeah,
Wow.
but people talk about it, and again, we're not asking for anything. We're just sharing who we are with them. They're sharing who they are with us. And people, how many people ask us when we're having our parties all the time, right?
Yeah,
All
it
the
only
time.
takes a month to recover afterwards, though.
Yeah. But it's fun, it's great, and we usually do it in September, and we have music and food, and just lots of alcohol, of course,
Mhm.
and
Of course, we're realtors.
I know, I don't drink, so.
I know you don't.
I don't drink, so, But it's just, just sharing. And I think that's what it's all about, being real, sharing, and caring about people, and knowing that's real. It's not a facade.
Right.
I'm not doing this to make money, I'm doing this because I truly care.
Right. And, there's also holding that space of gratitude,
It is,
right?
it is.
Yeah, because that's kind of what you're showing them actually, is the gratitude and, the caring, but the gratitude.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. It's good to think.
Yeah.
It really is.
So something that crossed my mind, your parents, they were, your dad was a tailor and your mom was a seamstress. So their work involved, clothing the body, right? And in making people feel good about who they are in their clothes, right? That's important because, our clothes say so much about who we are and how we feel about ourselves. And so you've expanded that to where you're not just like, making sure people's bodies are clothed, but that their family is encased and protected and held.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
That
it just
really
kind of,
is. It just, my mom was really fascinated by Coco Chanel when I was growing up.
yeah.
And really, I think that a lot, and she used to say some things about her, and it's really, and if you really look at the Coco Chanel's history in her life, and her, to me, I've always been fascinated by her. And she's about being an individual, who you are and what you are. Be real, true to yourself. And I think that's what I learned from them. My parents were really authentic of who they were. They were very proud of their heritage, and they were very proud of who they were and what they were, and that ingrained that in me. And just serve from your heart. That's what it was all about.
That's great. So when we see you walking around the office, we see who you truly are.
Sometimes, I'm just kidding.
So do you have any words of wisdom specifically that you wanted to make sure that was said today before we end our conversation?
Oh my gosh, so
You've
much.
given us already a lot, but was there anything in particular?
I just embrace who you are and just go out there and do the best you can, and know that you are guided, and just trust in that and let it be.
That's beautiful. Let it be. Does anybody have a question? Well, I think that you have really given us food for thought today, right? On how important it is to trust in who we are and to believe in our ability to trust that there is a higher being,
Yes, it is.
right? And that we are always guided and protected. So then it's a matter of trusting that there is that higher being,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sylvia C. Thank you. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. So next month is Therese Ferrara.